welcome back. Welcome back to our viewers. How are you feeling since we last spoke?
I'm feeling a little bit better in terms of what we've covered, right? I know how we're getting to Forum. You've told me I can't fly because I live in Cleveland, so I'm good with that. Uh, we've talked about some of the things to do in Columbus. There's lots of restaurants and rich culture. We also talked last time about funding Forum and getting my boss to say yes. So I am feeling good about that. But I do have some additional questions and still feeling a little overwhelmed. But I think the first question on my mind, Donna, is who are the two people that are joining us today?
Well, I knew that we'd probably have some stuff we wanted to talk about, so we invited a couple of guests. So let me introduce, first of all, Charlie Rossell from both the co-op and Pano chapters here in Ohio. Charlie is with the city of Cleveland as a procurement official, and he's here to help me talk about this from a veteran's perspective. And we also have Jess Humes, who is with the co-op chapter. She is a recent addition to the Solid Waste Authority of Central Ohio here in Columbus. And she is joining us because she is also a first timer and has some questions about what to expect from Forum, which is what we wanted to talk about today.
Well, thank you, Charlie and Jess, for joining us on our conversation. And I think I'm just going to ask then, Charlie and Donna, are you ready to impart some tribal wisdom here?
Sure. How about you, Charlie?
Let's rock and roll.
Perfect. Let's jump right in. My first question is, how do you pick sessions without getting so stressed or frazzled, or that it takes the fun out of attending, right? We're there to have fun and learn. And now there's quite literally what feels like hundreds of sessions, and I don't know which one to go to.
Yeah. I was excited to see that the schedule's posted. I think it really is looking very robust. And I think this is pretty typical for what you can expect from a forum. There's a lot of really good content every year. Early registration ends May 31st. Shameless plug. But so I think it is challenging. Charlie, how do you pick sessions to attend?
Very first thing you want to do is when you're looking at the schedule, if you see your boss is presenting, make sure you go to that session.
Yes.
That's very important. But what's really cool, like I've probably been to 10 to 13 different forums, and each one's a little bit different. And each one, I mean, I'll tell you, the first one I went to, it was Orlando. And I'm like, oh, cool, I'm gonna go see Mickey Mouse. Well, no, you don't go see Mickey Mouse. I guess you could. But there were so many different sessions. I was overwhelmed. I'm like, what do I do? And 10, 12 years ago, I had so much energy. I wanted to see everything, and it's absolutely impossible to see everything. So like Ryan and Jess, like it is going to be overwhelming, but pace yourself and look at the different strategies. Like I'm looking right now online, and there's different themes. Maybe look at the different theme and pick that theme and roll with that theme throughout the 3-4 days that we're going to be at Forum. That's what I would suggest. So number one, if your boss is presenting, go to that session. Yep. And then number two, pick a theme and roll with that theme.
Yeah. One thing I use when I'm trying to pick a session is what type of session it is, right? Some sessions are more of a workshop where you're doing Q&A in the session. That might feel like it's more valuable to attend in person. Whereas, if it's just someone giving, not that this is worse, but sometimes someone's just giving you a presentation, that's something that's a little easier to watch on video later, which, as we talked about in a previous segment, all of the sessions that are recorded are going to be available for 60 days after Forum is done. So a way to not get overwhelmed is realizing that, hey, I don't have to see everything here. I can focus on what I want to attend the most, and then pick up on some of those other sessions that were interesting after Forum when I get home. So, what do you think is most interesting to see in person versus what could you maybe watch afterwards? Yeah.
That's really helpful. Thank you.
I do want to ask, since there are going to be several, it sounds like, options to choose from, is there one session that you never want to skip? Is there one session maybe that you feel like you continuously go to, or would there be ones that first timers like myself and Ryan would be best to
Sure.
be at?
Yeah. I know one thing I always look at on the schedule is there are, even though we've been talking about how great the videos are, there are always a handful of sessions that aren't filmed. It's usually very few. I think last year there was maybe 3 or 4 out of the whole multi-day program that weren't filmed. So I would say if one of those is appealing to you, I definitely wouldn't skip that, because again, you won't be able to go back and watch it later. I think also if you're interested in, one of the things that I'm interested in this year is the learning tracks, right? So every year there are certain learning tracks where a set of courses are offered on a specific topic. This year they're doing a project management learning track, which is really, that sounds very appealing to me. I've been looking into, project management from a procurement perspective. And so I am probably going to be planning on going to those specifically, because I really want to, again, if it's a workshop or something where there's interaction, you want to maybe be in the room where it happens, right? Instead of on video later on. So
It's a really good point. Thank you.
Charlie?
Yeah, I guess the only thing I would add is, and it's just so hard because there's so many sessions. But what's nice is now, because you could look for these classes ahead of time. Like, I'm gonna sound like an old man, but when my first at the first forum in Orlando back in, I want to say it was 2011 or 12, I can't remember exactly, but you know how we got to look at the classes and what they were all about? Paper.
Yeah.
So that's literally like when you got that, you're going through and you're like, oh, what do I want to see? You could open up the website, or once it's on the app, digest all that and start and click on the class, and you can see what it's about, who's presenting it. Because maybe you heard of a presenter that has presented before, like a Carrie Mathis or a Barb Miss Ohio Johnson or Linda Allaire, and you really want to go see that because you heard they're awesome presenters and great teachers and great mentors. Then that's what I would do. Look at that. But it gives you time before you get into Columbus or into the next forum, wherever it's at, and you could see what that class is about and what that session's about.
If you don't mind, I'd like to kind of switch gears here and still with questions, but maybe taking another component of the conference and really around the networking and the vendor halls, right? Just kind of wondering from the both of you if you have any strategies, or how did you personally talk to people when you were either in settings that were alone or that you didn't have someone to introduce you?
What I found very valuable the first few times I went, is that you are in an environment where you already have something in common with people, right? These are folks who, they may not work in the same, I work at the state level, Charlie works at the city level, Jessica works for a solid waste authority, like Ryan works for Sourcewell. We all work for these different types of groups, but we all also share in common that we are working in public procurement. You run into some of the same problems, the same challenges, even if it's a tiny town versus a state level, so you're always going to have something in common with them. You're going to have something to talk about, even if it's just the content of the session you happen to be in together.
I made it a goal to myself, like the next year we were in Philadelphia, is I want to at least get to know 10 to 15 new people. And what did I do? And it's a little scary, even though I'm an extrovert, but you just go up to somebody and say, hello, I'm Charlie. I'm from the great state of OH. And, we'll see if they reply back IO. And if they do, start building a bond there, But that's what I did. And I love the networking piece because Donna, you kind of said it already. Um, if you have an issue, you have a problem, it's an easy phone call, it's an easy email to that person that may live in California or might live up in Toronto, Canada. It's just, you just build and expand your network and get to know as many people as possible. Even if you are an introvert, you can still do the same thing. You see that person sitting at the table by themselves and you're like, well, I'm going to sit next to them and I'm going to introduce myself and say hello, and maybe they're drinking a cup of coffee. Oh, you like coffee? What kind of coffee do you like? Just start the small talk, and it builds from there.
That's great. Thank you.
So let me ask you, once you get over that hurdle of being brave enough to, if you're going alone, spark a conversation with somebody, introduce yourself, you get over that hurdle, you start to ease in a little bit. How would you describe the best way to make use of the vendor hall? It sounds like there'll be, as Ryan mentioned, lots of vendors and it might feel overwhelming. Where do you go first? How do you navigate? Do you have any suggestions on how somebody would go about that?
It's very overwhelming. There's a lot of vendors. I'm trying to remember 100, 150, 200 vendors. And there's a lot. There's also a lot of cooperatives, cooperative contracts there too, like Sourcewell, the Omnias, Core Trust. I can't name them all, but go visit them, say hello. They're there too. I mean, to obviously to spark up some business and some conversation, but you might see a brand new F-150 truck there. Go talk to the salesperson there, or you might run into a new like a Gator that they have there for off-road and on trails. They're there to help us. We're there to get some knowledge, and then maybe we could bring it back to somebody in our office. So it's very similar. Just walk up, say hello. Don't get overwhelmed on how much is there, because it's just not one day we're going to be there, half a day. We're actually going to go there the next day too. So there's 2 days we could visit the expo. Yeah. So take your time and walk through it.
I often will do sort of a lap around and look at what is where, and then figure out, okay, this section is maybe some folks that aren't as relevant to me, or there's usually a lot of folks that are talking about like e-procurement systems. My entity's not shopping for one of those right now, but other entities may be. So, is it relevant for me to stop and get the spiel for 20 minutes when I know that we're not shopping right now? Whereas someone who is looking, this is a great opportunity to talk to different entities, get stuff about, they'll set up demos with you or whatever, that you become a point of contact to be able to talk to them instead of just, I read some stuff on your website, right? So it can be really helpful for that. I know a big recommendation that people always make, I am not a swag hound as much as other people are. If I get out with
how many totes, Donna, how many totes do I need? That is the question that I'm really needing to know. How many totes does one need for all the swag?
Yeah, I will say usually folks are giving out totes, so you maybe don't even need to bring one. The swag is fun, but what's really the most helpful part is having access to these suppliers that are there to talk to us. They want to have a relationship with us. They want to provide the things that we're looking for. And so being able to connect to them can be really valuable.
Donna, that's really helpful in terms of getting a bit more information. So thank you and Charlie for helping us with better being prepared to network and to shop. I mean, visit the expo hall and support our suppliers, and also get inspired. So kind of just wrapping things up with some real life logistics. One of my last questions that I've got for the pair of you is, what should I wear? Or I guess better yet, what should I not wear?
I think that's a great question. We are all familiar with Ohio weather, but for those who are coming from places elsewhere,
wait 5 minutes and it'll change.
Yep. As my mother loves to say, if you don't like the weather in Ohio, just wait 5 minutes. So, you know, think about, as at any conference, they recommend wearing layers, being prepared for a cold air conditioned room when it's 85 degrees outside. August in Ohio is usually pretty warm, so I would plan, hey, it's going to be summer weather, but you might be in a room that's 65 degrees because they've got the air conditioning cranked up, so
Yep.
you want to be comfortable for yourself. There's a lot of walking, there's a lot of moving around, so you want to stay hydrated. I am a big fan of comfortable shoes, whatever that means for you. I'm proud of the ladies who wear their high heels. I know I can't do that, but if that's comfortable for you, then, more power to you. Be ready for walking, be ready for, it's a marathon and not a sprint. It's several days of content, and you want to be able to make it through everything, even if that means taking breaks, even if it means, hey, I'm just not ready to do a session today. I'm going to skip this time and take some time to relax and catch up on that content on the video.
Well, Donna, thank you so much for getting some special guests for today. Charlie and Jessica, thank you so much for your time. This
Yes,
has
thank
definitely
you.
been helpful for me. I know that I've learned quite a bit from hearing you and Charlie share your experiences, and I know Jess did as well. I'm hoping that Jess is feeling a bit better, especially as a new timer like me. And just wanted to know, I think from you, Donna, if there's anything else that we need to know before we hit the end button on this video.
Yeah. Couple of quick things. We mentioned it before, but the early bird registration is going to end on May 31st. So if we've successfully sold you on coming to Forum, we hope you will join us and register early and save a little bit of money. We also learned today that the scheduling information is up, the session information is up on the website, nigp.org/forum. So again, if you're interested, come check that list out and see if you're interested in coming to Forum to attend some of that great content. We also want to invite the audience, if you'd like, to comment down below this YouTube video to tell us about either your stories from past forums or questions that you might have. And if we get some good questions, we'll try to address them in a future video. So we'd love to hear from you. Share your stories and let other folks know why this is such a great conference to come to. So and I think next month, look out for, we're going to be doing a session on, we talked a little bit about it this month, how to take care of yourself at Forum, physical, mental. So keep an eye out for that next month. Hopefully we'll have some good content for you again. And this is Radio NIGP.
Peace.